Under the Golden Dome. This week is the week prior to the second funnel deadline. That means we had an awful lot of floor debate, particularly if a bill does not have a companion in the other chamber. By next Friday, a bill has to have passed a committee in one chamber and a committee in the other chamber to remain alive. So legislators were pushing a lot of bills through in debate, particularly in the House. The Senate only actually debated one day this week. They don't have as much to do with respect to some of these policy bills. Three big things that happened this week. Number one, charters. Unfortunately, despite all of our best efforts and despite the fact that we were winning on the merits of our arguments, House File 813, the charter school bill, passed the House late last night, or actually early this morning, on a vote of 55-40. I wouldn't read too much into the Republicans who generally didn't really care or weren't supportive of charters in terms of where their vote is. The reason we lost this is this was a governor's priority bill. There was an awful lot of pressure being put on House Republicans to pass one of her major priorities. And at the end of the day, even though we had the best arguments as to why this bill isn't the right public policy, we couldn't overcome the fact that the governor's office has the bully pulpit when it comes to pushing her party, her legislators, to do what she wants. The bill will go over to the Senate, into Senate Education Committee. And while I anticipate that it will pass, I know that there are a number of senators, Republican senators, who really would prefer to have vouchers than charters, and they really don't want charter schools without vouchers. But at the end of the day, the same pressure that the governor's office put on House Republicans will be put on Senate Republicans, and the bill will pass and become law. Number two, elections. We are continuing to work on the bad election bill that would require school districts at their own cost to mail something to every household with a registered voter for any ballot or public measure that would be put on the ballot in either March or September special election dates. The idea behind this is to generate more turnout. But I think because we've exempted the November date, that the real goal is to try to consolidate all of our special elections into one election date, being November. We are working with House Republicans and some Democrats to come up with either striking the language or a solution that does not put this on the backs of our school districts and ultimately their property taxpayers. Number three, Tuesday of this week, the Senate unveiled a very large property tax bill. The underlying genesis of the bill removes the levy for mental health that is imposed at the county level and replaces it with state funds. But it also eliminates the backfill for the commercial and industrial property tax exemption. That's important to schools because that backfill helps maintain your rates and make sure you're whole with respect to your PEPL levies. With the elimination of that, which we are working hard to fight, it will open the door to the fact that you may need to raise property taxes. But perhaps the most concerning piece in this bill is the elimination of the voter-approved PEARL levy. The argument is that we don't need infrastructure levies, even if they're voter-approved, because we have SAVE. So we're working to see if we can strike that, and if not, at least grandfather in those who have an existing voter-approved levy. So that's kind of a wrap on what happened this week. We'll be looking to next week to see what is able to survive. There are a number of policy initiatives out there that we are supportive of that we'll be pushing to get through that process. So I encourage you to check out our Advocacy and Action newsletter, which will give you a summary of what those bills are and what you can do to help us push those forward.